Congratulations, and thank you for purchasing CoreStretch, the most effective, easy-to-use back stretching device available today. CoreStretch was designed to effectively stretch and elongate your back, shoulders, hips, hamstrings, and shins. What many people don't realize is that these muscle groups work with each other and form the core of your body. By adding flexibility to these core areas of your body, you can prevent and rehabilitate many types of injury and pain, especially in the back. Before getting started, we must first caution anyone who has any recent physical problems, has recently had surgery, has chronic back problems, or is just beginning an exercise program to please consult your physician or medical professional prior to using the CoreStretch. First, always warm up the muscles before stretching. A short walk or jog should be sufficient. This will increase the blood circulation and make the muscles more pliable. You never want to stretch a cold muscle. Second, hold the stretch to where you feel a gentle tension. Do not stretch to the point of pain or bounce while stretching. This will actually cause the muscle to tighten and not increase its flexibility. Finally, relax and breathe slowly, deeply, and naturally. Proper breathing aids in relaxation and enhances your stretching success. As with any stretching device, it is important that proper technique be used. We are going to go through a running demonstration of the CoreStretch using the brochure and the instructional diagrams as an outline. We'll start with how to properly place and size the CoreStretch. The two most important factors using the CoreStretch are the proper placement on the hips and the proper extension of the handle. These two components put you in the proper posture, including straightness of the back and extension of your arms. When you are positioning the CoreStretch, you should place the padded base on the lap right next to the stomach. Then push the button and raise the handle until it is at the level of your outstretched arm, not too high and not too low. This encourages a straight back and places the arms close to overhead. When the setting is too short, the most evident thing to look for is slack in the arms and a curved back. When the arms and back are not straight, this prevents the tension needed for the CoreStretch to perform properly. When the setting is too high, you won't be able to grip it well, and you will feel more stretch in your upper back instead of your lower back. The premise of the CoreStretch is that it uses itself as a lever to stretch the back by putting traction on the back and upper body against the hips to elongate the upper body. Let's begin with a demonstration. As you can see in the instructional brochure, there are 3 levels of stretches that can be performed using the CoreStretch: beginner, intermediate, and advanced. Beginner stretches are performed sitting on a chair or bench, and that is where we will begin today. We'll use the CoreStretch in the first stretch, which is a beginner stretch in the seated position. The seated position is a nice position to learn because there is less tension to the core muscles and will allow you to get a feel for how the CoreStretch affects the core muscles. As you are coming down past the point of 90 degrees, gravity assists in pulling you downward. You don't have to apply much pressure to the CoreStretch or push your body down because gravity assists you naturally. The first stretch positions the legs bent, which will stretch everything from my hips up. This is good for the muscles in the mid, low, and upper back, the shoulders, and the triceps, up through the arms. To do this, reach up and lean forward. Once you're leaning forward, hold the stretch for anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds. The duration of the stretch is a variable that will change from person to person, but generally any stretch can be held 10 to 30 seconds. It should be to the point where you feel tension on the muscles but not pain. With this stretch, you can also take advantage of the other rotational axis available with the CoreStretch. You can rotate or you can swivel left and right, which will stretch one side and then the other and also allow you to isolate specific areas. Our next stretch will target the middle muscles in the back, which include the rhomboids and the teres major and minor muscles. Those muscles interact with the shoulder blades. People that sit at desks for a long time have a tendency to retract those muscles and keep them there. Those muscles get very tight and tender, and a lot of people have chronic pain because of those tight muscles. So, a good way to use the CoreStretch to help stretch those muscles, which are ordinarily very hard to stretch, is to do a cross grip. Your right hand will go to the left handle, and your left hand will go to the right handle. Once again, you're going to leave the legs bent, and so as you stretch forward, you will protract the scapulas outward. What that's going to do is stretch in between the scapula and the shoulder blades and get those muscles which are ordinarily very difficult to stretch. Again, with this stretch, you can take advantage of the rotational abilities, so once you're down, you can rotate or swivel to emphasize one side or the other, and also to isolate those muscles in the mid-back between the shoulder blades. Another variation using the CoreStretch with the legs bent in the beginner position is to use an underhand grip. This is going to emphasize the latissimus muscles on the sides. The latissimus muscles are the larger back muscles on the side. Use a standard grip, but have the palms facing up. As you lean forward, it's going to increase the stretch on those lat muscles. Again, you can utilize the rotation or the swivel axis to emphasize or isolate certain muscles. Now we'll do an advanced lat stretch where you take one hand and cross over to the other handle and lean to the extreme right or to the extreme left, stabilizing with your other arm. If you lean to the left, it's going to stretch to the right lat and vice versa. This is considered an advanced lat stretch because it stretches the upper and lower latissimus muscles. Now we're going to move to some other beginner stretches which involve the hamstrings. It is a large misconception, especially with people that have sore back muscles, that only the back needs to be flexible. In actuality, the hamstrings are very much a part of the lower back system. Flexibility in the hamstrings is extremely important to help alleviate certain tight muscle pain in the lower back. To stretch the hamstrings and the calf muscles, straighten the legs out. To do so, use a standard chair or bench without wheels and move close enough to the edge where you're securely on the chair, but out far enough that the legs can be elongated so they're straight. To start with, you're going to keep your feet in a neutral position. This allows them to be relaxed so you're not dorsal or plantar flex at all. You're going to use a standard grip and gently lean forward. It needs to be noted that your range of motion with the legs stretched is going to be considerably less than with the legs bent. That is because when you involve the hamstrings and the lower legs, there is a restricted range of motion. Now, with the legs straight, lean forward. You can use the rotational or the swivel axis to enhance or isolate specific areas of the back. To increase the flexibility in your lower legs, especially your calves, you're simply going to pull the toes back towards you. This is going to emphasize the calves by shortening the range of motion and increasing the stretch. Now, for runners or athletes that have dealt with shin issues like shin splints or have a desire to specifically keep the muscles in the front of the lower leg flexible, you can simply point the toes down, away from you, as you're stretching, shifting the stretch from the back of your calves to the front of your shins. The last exercise for beginners that we'll go through is for the hips. Once again, many people have tightness in their glutes and hips, which affects the back, and they're often difficult muscles to stretch. To begin, you simply cross your legs in a fashion that allows your cross-legged foot to rest on the knee that's down. The stretch in this position is going to heavily emphasize the hip muscles, and more specifically the performance muscles, including the piriformis. Also, the iliotibial band, otherwise known as the IT band, which is on the outside of the thigh, does get some stretch here. One way to increase the intensity of the stretch is to raise up on the toe of the foot that's down, which will increase the stretch on the hip. Additionally, you can hold the CoreStretch with one hand and raise the foot that is resting on the knee straight up to promote maximum intensity. Those exercises conclude what we consider the beginner stretches. They are all done from a seated position in a chair, and they all utilize gravity as an aid to help you get an idea of the kind of mechanics and leverages involved.